Ladies, pause for a moment. Before you scroll, before you judge yourself, before you defend anyone, let me ask you something, honestly. When did love start feeling like something you have to earn? When did effort become optional, but loyalty become your responsibility? If that question made you uncomfortable, good. That means you're awake. And if you're a woman who wants peace, clarity, and strength, not chaos, subscribe now. Not because this channel has answers, but because it helps you ask better questions. Here's one of them. Why are so many women giving their best to situations that give them the bare minimum? Marcus Aurelius once reflected that we suffer not because of events, but because of the meaning we attach to them. And today, many women are suffering quietly, not because they are weak, but because they've been taught to endure what should have been corrected. Let me be clear, calmly. You are not asking for too much. You are asking the wrong person. Stoicism teaches us a difficult truth. People don't mistreat us by accident. They do it by permission. And permission often comes disguised as patience, as understanding, as "I'll wait, maybe they'll change." So let me ask you, and I want you to answer this in the comments, honestly. What have you been tolerating that's slowly draining your peace? Because peace is not a luxury. It is the foundation of self-respect. Many women confuse emotional investment with emotional debt. You give time, you give empathy, you give loyalty, and somewhere along the way, you start believing you're owed nothing in return. But Seneca warned that we are often more loyal to our suffering than to our well-being. Read that again, quietly. If someone truly values you, you won't feel confused most of the time. You won't feel anxious waiting for replies. You won't feel like asking for consistency makes you difficult. Consistency is not romance, it is respect. And respect should never feel rare. Now, let me slow this down, because this is important. Stoic women are not cold, they are clear. They don't demand attention, they observe behavior. Epictetus taught that we should focus only on what we can control, and one of the most powerful things you can control is what you allow access to your heart. Let me ask you another question, and this one determines everything. If nothing changed for the next year, would you be at peace with this situation? Don't answer emotionally, answer honestly. Because hoping someone will become who they are not is not loyalty, it is self-betrayal. And here's the part many women struggle to hear. Love that costs you your dignity is not love. Attention without effort is not affection, and potential without action is not a future. If this is resonating with you, pause for a second and like this video. It helps this message reach another woman who needs it, and it tells the algorithm this conversation matters. Now, let's talk about why this keeps happening. Modern culture rewards women for being accommodating, for being patient, for being understanding. Stoicism offers a different path. It teaches quiet power, power that doesn't argue, doesn't beg, doesn't explain the obvious. A Stoic woman understands this principle. How someone treats you is not a misunderstanding, it's information. And when the information is clear, the response should be calm, not emotional. So here's a moment of reflection, and I want you to comment your answer if you're ready. What pattern are you finally starting to notice but haven't fully accepted yet? Because awareness is the first act of self-respect. Soon, we're going to talk about something even deeper, why walking away calmly is more powerful than staying and suffering, and how Stoic detachment is not coldness, it's self-mastery. But before we go there, I want you to sit with this truth. You don't need closure from someone who never gave you clarity. You don't need permission to choose peace, and you don't need to prove your worth to someone benefiting from your silence. Stay with me for the next part, because this is where everything begins to change. If you're still here, it means something inside you is shifting. Because before wasn't about blame, it was about awareness. Now we talk about the moment that scares most women, the moment you realize staying hurts more than leaving. Stoic philosophy never asked people to endure unnecessary pain. It asked them to endure reality clearly. And here is a reality many women avoid looking at for too long. You cannot heal in the same place that keeps wounding you. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you always have the option of retreating into yourself, a place where no one can disturb your peace unless you allow it. But many women don't retreat inward. They overextend outward. They stay available. They stay hopeful. They stay silent. Not because they are weak, but because they are emotionally loyal. Let me ask you something, and I want you to answer this honestly in the comments. What are you afraid will happen if you finally choose yourself? Because fear is often the last chain. Fear of being alone, fear of starting over, fear of being misunderstood. But Stoicism teaches something powerful. Loneliness is not the absence of people, it's the absence of peace. And peace is not found where effort is one-sided. Now listen carefully, because this part matters. Walking away calmly is not giving up, it is graduating. It is the moment you stop trying to be chosen and start choosing yourself. Epictetus taught that no one can control your mind without your consent, but many women hand over that consent slowly through overthinking, waiting, and hoping. Hope can be dangerous when it delays action. So let me ask you a second question, one that separates clarity from illusion. Are you staying because it's good or because you're afraid to let go? Sit with that. Stoic detachment is often misunderstood. It is not coldness, it is not bitterness, it is not shutting down. Detachment is seeing clearly without clinging. A Stoic woman feels deeply, but she does not drown in emotion. She observes patterns, she listens to actions, she trusts consistency more than promises. And when she leaves, she does not announce it. She withdraws her energy quietly. No arguments, no long explanations, no dramatic exits. Because Stoicism teaches this rule: your silence becomes powerful when it replaces words that were never respected. If this resonates, like the video now. It helps this message reach another woman who's standing at the same emotional crossroads. Let's talk about guilt, because this is where many women turn back. You feel guilty for pulling away, guilty for not giving one more chance, guilty for choosing yourself. But Seneca warned us that misplaced guilt is one of the fastest ways to betray ourselves. Ask yourself, who taught you that protecting your peace was selfish? Because self-respect is not cruelty, boundaries are not punishment, distance is not hate, distance is clarity. Here's the truth, calm and firm. If someone wanted to show up for you, they would. If someone valued you, consistency would not feel forced. If someone respected you, your needs would not feel inconvenient. A Stoic woman accepts this without resentment. She does not chase closure, she creates it. She understands that walking away calmly hurts less than staying emotionally drained. And here's what happens after you detach. This is important. Your mind becomes quieter, your emotions stabilize, your standards rise naturally. You stop replaying conversations, you stop checking your phone, you stop waiting. Not because you stopped caring, but because you started caring about yourself. Let me ask you another comment question. This one brings truth to the surface. What did you lose by staying longer than you should have? Time? Confidence? Peace? Because awareness transforms pain into wisdom. In part 3,
We're going to talk about what happens after detachment, how a Stoic woman rebuilds her identity, confidence, and quiet power. But before we get there, remember this. You don't need to disappear to be respected. You need to stop overgiving where effort is absent. Calm withdrawal is not weakness. It is strength without noise. Stay with me. This part is where the transformation completes.
You've made it this far, which means something inside you has shifted. Because awareness is only the beginning. The next step, the transformation, is about reclaiming yourself. Many women stop here. They know they deserve more, but the fear of stepping into their own power stops them. Today, let's finish what we started. Let me ask you, who would you become if you no longer allowed anyone to dictate your worth? Think carefully. A Stoic woman does not look for validation from those who have already shown her their limits. She builds her life where respect, consistency, and clarity exist, first inside herself, then in her interactions with the world. This is the moment where clarity turns into quiet power. You begin to see something remarkable. Your presence alone carries weight. You don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to beg for attention. You don't need to over-explain your worth. The world notices calm confidence far more than desperate longing. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Your thoughts shape your presence, your choices, and your boundaries. So if you want to be seen, respected, and cherished, start with the quality of your thinking. Stop overanalyzing what others do. Stop waiting for gestures that are inconsistent. Stop hoping for validation that never arrives. Instead, channel that energy inward. Reflect on this. Are your actions honoring your value? Are your boundaries firm yet kind? Are you cultivating your mind, your peace, and your purpose? These are not small questions. They are the blueprint for your transformation. Now let's talk about attraction, not in the superficial sense, but the Stoic sense. Calm composure, firm boundaries, and self-respect create a natural magnetism. Not because you're trying to attract someone, but because you no longer repel yourself. And when you stop chasing, the right people appear effortlessly. Seneca said, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you." Replace man with your own self-improvement. Surround yourself with people who respect your time, effort, and peace. Distance yourself from those who drain you. Now, here's a reflection I want you to engage with and answer in the comments. Who in your life lifts your standards and who lowers them without realizing it? This is not about judgment, it's about awareness. It's about choosing wisely. Let's talk about rebuilding. When you detach from what no longer serves you, you create space. Space to grow, space to think, space to act with purpose. This is where self-love meets Stoic philosophy. Begin each day intentionally. Reflect on your values. Prioritize actions that honor them. End each day by observing your thoughts without judgment. This is not easy at first. Old habits, old attachments, old expectations, they resist. But consistency builds inner strength. And here's the most important lesson. Your worth does not depend on others. Your peace does not depend on others. Your happiness does not depend on others. It depends on you. Imagine yourself a year from now, strong, calm, radiant, no longer anxious, uncertain, or drained. Wouldn't that be a victory worth claiming today? Let me ask one final question to leave in the comments. Who in your life lifts your standards and who lowers them without realizing it? This is not about judgment, it's about awareness. It's about choosing wisely.
Let's talk about rebuilding. When you detach from what no longer serves you, you create space. Space to grow, space to think, space to act with purpose. This is where self-love meets Stoic philosophy. Begin each day intentionally. Reflect on your values. Prioritize actions that honor them. End each day by observing your thoughts without judgment. This is not easy at first. Old habits, old attachments, old expectations, they resist. But consistency builds inner strength. And here's the most important lesson. Your worth does not depend on others. Your peace does not depend on others. Your happiness does not depend on others. It depends on you. Imagine yourself a year from now, strong, calm, radiant, no longer anxious, uncertain, or drained. Wouldn't that be a victory worth claiming today? Let me ask one final question to leave in the comments. Who is the first action you will take today to honor your worth? Because taking that small, deliberate step is the beginning of profound change. Remember, Stoicism is not about suppression. It is about mastery. Mastery of thoughts, mastery of actions, mastery of emotions. You no longer react to chaos. You embody calm. You walk forward with dignity, clarity, and quiet authority. And the world takes notice, not because you demand it, but because you carry yourself as one who knows her value. If this message resonates, subscribe and share your reflections. This conversation could empower another woman to reclaim her life. And always remember, stay grounded, stay unshaken, stay stoic.